Ah, modern model railroading. Switching cars, running passenger trains, and switching cars. What fun this is! But what if I told you there used to be even more fun? Long ago in the 1970s, when cars were great, trains were more toys than models, and the Rockford Files was new. A company called Tyco was making line-side accessories, and many of these were interactive. From containers to coal and gold, you were loading and unloading cars across your train set. Even starter sets were coming with them. Tyco knew what kids wanted, and so did other manufacturers of toy trains. So, what happened? Well, the short answer is the market changed, but let's be a bit more in depth. Back in the 1950s, Lionel made quite a few interactive industries, mainly with hauling coal. Take the number 97 coaling station, for example. These toys were very popular with children, and for good reason. Back in the day, you saw trains hauling a variety of goods, and plenty of older infrastructure was still around. Unlike many other toy train makers, Lionel decided to innovate by making their trains have a purpose. Even on a small table where most train sets ended up, if not in a toy box or stored away. By giving the trains something to do, even on these tiny tables, the trains felt like the real thing. They had a purpose. Haul from one place to another. American Flyer did this as well, and, well, between the two, you could have a arguably more realistic model railroad, and maybe above all, more fun. This continued almost unchecked until a challenger emerged in the 1970s. In the 1970s, plastic was a fairly new technology, and Tyco became the first model railroad company to take full advantage of it. Plastic allowed for cheaper production than metal models, and cheaper shipping costs with it being far lighter. All great stuff, right? Lionel surely could not compete. Well, kinda. Plastic does degrade and can be of low quality. Tyco never tried to make models, they were always toys. You can tell this by all the molded-in detail on their trains and accessories. But they were still kings of innovation, making so your slot cars can cross train tracks, and their Highway Number 1 system, which deserves a video of its own. They truly were the Lionel of the 70s. Take a look at their offerings in action. Who wouldn't want this on their layout, no matter the size? Actually, before someone in the comments say Tyco bad, herder, here's a snippet from TSG Layout Tours.
This loader was a very challenging scratch building project, especially because all I had to work from was these two prototype photos. My rock cars were built from the old Tyco operating hoppers from decades ago. I bought about 30 of them on eBay, many of them junkers, just to get the bodies and dumping mechanisms. but with new trucks and couplers, paint, and decals, they are very similar to the 55-ton hoppers actually used on the project. Plus, they enable me to deliver live loads during operations to the construction site, which we'll see at the end of this run. Here we see another load of gravel being delivered. It falls into a hidden bin below and is recycled. The prototype delivered up to 40 rock loads per day for the better part of 3 years. During an operating session, we often get well over 20.
So they can blend in, and this system of his makes his railroad that much more lifelike. Now, if these were so great, and some people still make use of them, why does only Lionel still make this kind of stuff? Well, people's interests changed. For better or worse, models today are not toys anymore, no matter the scale. This causes a problem. Most modelers have zero interest in toy-like buildings. You can see this in Lionel only makes a handful of their prior buildings. While concessions must always be made, yes, I'll be the first to admit these buildings do not look realistic by any means. But I think the trade-off is worth it. You can't change the fact that if you want scale size, it will be fragile, with maybe the exception of brass and metal. I can't think of any intricate building models that I can handle without damaging them other than brass ones. Then we have the problem real railroads face. What if it leaks? Real loading procedures have real problems. Cars can spill their load en route and may spill being loaded. On the low detail layout of yesteryear, this could easily be dealt with. Serious scale modelers are not willing to take such risks, and it's understandable. The only real solution to one of these problems is using the 100-ton bathtub gonds, but not every railroad had these and really only work for the 1970s going forward. Then you have arguably the biggest problem. Unless you can make the send and receiving area one building like Lionel has, you can't make a ready-to-run kit. It requires a fair amount of engineering to make this stuff work for toys, let alone scale models. Not that it can't be done, as I've shown, but this is a whole new level of design and building that most modelers will not partake in, which is completely understandable, but may be a case of no one's interested as no one makes it. So, will interactive industries come back? Well, I'll be honest, not likely. For the reasons already mentioned, Jack Specific made a go of it, and to be honest, I could never find it. I really wanted the coal loader, so unfortunately I can't speak on it. Lionel makes a few select ones, and no one else has tried in a long time. I think the only company that has a chance of making it work is Walthers, as they make both trains and the buildings, but it doesn't seem like they have much of an interest. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.